Hello from Gardening at Douentza here in Ireland, and you're very welcome back to this May garden tour. So the garden is really waking up for the summer, and we have a lot of flower, we have a lot of bloom, we have a lot of things going on, and there has been a kind of mini disaster as well in the shape of a late frost after extraordinarily good weather. So the late frost has really knocked unexpected things back, but I'll show you all that as we go through our garden tour. Okay, come on, let's go. And before we go into the garden, I'm just going to do a pan here on, I guess, the entrance to the main part of the garden, just to show you how these beds here are shaping up. And it's an amazing year for the Heuchera. We've got bearded irises that are going to open soon, not in time for this video though. And then further up we have, of course, the Viburnum, which is looking really quite lovely. As you can see, the Laburnum tree has finally flowered. And any of you who follow my Instagram will have seen the post I put up there when the racemes were just drooping ever so slightly, wondering would they ever open in time for when we got the visit from Nationwide, from the RTE television channel. And of course they didn't. Plants just don't perform as you want them to. And this is my favourite shot really of the Laburnum from the garden side, from on the grass. And I just love the way it overhangs this kind of grassy pathway down there. But anyway, yeah, it's just opening now, just beginning to open really fully, and I hope it'll go on and have a long season of interest for us. So I guess let's just zoom in here for a few moments and have a look at the Heuchera, which is just in leaf at the moment. We have no flowers yet, but if we look carefully, I think I can see the spikes coming. And this Heuchera gets sprays of white flowers a little late on in the season. You can see they aren't white now, they're still very red. Unfortunately, I don't have a name for it. It could be Palace Purple, but I've had it so long in the garden, it stems from a time before I had the plant database. So unfortunately, I can't tell you which one it is. It does super in this position though. This is what Heucheras really love, full sun and well-drained soil, and thankfully I have both to offer. Now I have other Heucheras in the garden, but none have done as well as this particular one in this particular spot. And just above the Heucheras you can see that it's going to be a bumper year for the bearded irises. I have so many spikes at the moment. Really looking good for them. The little azalea just to the left is also looking really quite sumptuous, and if you have acid soil at all, I really encourage you to try out rhododendrons and azaleas because they're wonderful for this time of year. Okay, well now I guess it's time to head on into the garden and have a look around and see what plants are looking really quite well at the moment. Having passed through the arch, I'm just giving a bit of a sweep around. That's the Heuchera bed in front of us now, with the azaleas and the bearded irises looking really quite well. And then just above us, out of sight, is the Laburnum. Let's just swing up slightly to show you that. And then I guess if I continue migrating on around, we'll see the Cedar Tree, which is my son Samuel's tree, and the box balls. More about that in a few moments. We have some stuff looking well at the moment, not least of all the Stipa gigantea, which is looking really quite elegant with its grass heads bobbing. And down we go. On the left we have the Stipa gigantea, which is really coming along nicely, very tactile, very nice plant to have on a corner. And I guess that pink blob over there is going to be Silene. The tree in the foreground with the gorgeous peeling bark is an Acer Grigio. And this is one that's super in winter. But you know what? It keeps on giving through the summer too. Acer Grigio is chiefly grown for its bark. But many people are confused about the name because Grigio, of course, means grey. And there's nothing grey about this beautiful brown tree. It's not grey at all. However, the Grigio bit refers to the greyness on the undersides of the leaves. A trait I wouldn't have considered. Now down below we have Regersias, and we had a late unexpected cold snap of frost, and it actually has made the Regersias suffer a lot among other plants. Now of course we can have frost at this time of year any year, but I guess we were just lulled into a sense of false security by the fact that the weather had been so glorious up until then, and there had been no sign of frost, and then suddenly bam, and this is what you get. Very sad. Here's quite a pretty picture just beside the Acer, and it's Podophyllum spotty dotty to the left with those big hand-like leaves. But do you see the elegant looking understated plant to the right? Well, that's a Disporum. Now, the Disporum isn't open completely yet, but if I just show you, it has these very understated green flowers that are really quite beautiful and a very elegant habit, and I love it. A great woodland plant for, well, a shady spot. And many people's favourite is this pink Silene, which is a very, I guess, common plant, but extremely colourful at this time of year. A bit of a thug in how it gets around, but actually, you know, it makes a very cheery injection to a time in the year when there isn't a lot of colour, and I like it for that. As you can see, we've been experimenting moving the tables and chairs around this year, and found a little alcove there for the small table and chairs. And then over here, I think you can probably see the big table just beyond. We have the lower section of the garden, which we'll have a look at now. So moving past the hydrangea, which was actually quite badly bitten by the frost the other night. But I want to show you a lovely, lovely little woodlandsy plant down here. Can you see it yet? And this is a variegated polygonatum. A glorious clump now at this stage, which I'm very proud of. And for my money, it's the best polygonatum. And I'm going to give you a close-up now of the leaves, which are absolutely gorgeous with their cream and green. The only thing you have to be aware of is that every now and again the plant is going to throw up a completely green shoot, so you have to be ruthless and weed that out, otherwise it's going to revert. And over behind the polygonatum we have an unusual sight really, because this is a Trillium, but it's pink. And this is the Trillium Grandiflorum that I showed you in a couple of other videos when it was completely white, and now with age it's acquired these pink tinges, which I think is really quite attractive. Even here the backs of the leaves are really lovely when the light hits them. Our next port of call is here down in the lower garden, those pipes over there, and let me show you what I've been doing. So I dug up that little sedum there and divided it, and I had enough to populate the final few pipes and also to spread it right here like a carpet in front of the pipes. And I think it's going to do so well here because it's full sun, it's very well drained soil, and I think it's just going to spread and do so well. I hope so anyway. My daughter placed the ornaments around the garden this year. And just sweeping now up the long border where the lilies and Galtonia that I planted not very long ago are just coming up. The Galtonia has been coming up for a while, but the lilies, I saw the first lily pop up today, and hopefully we'll have a good display before very long. And the rhododendrons, the purple rhododendrons here, they will soon be in flower. Over here you'll probably notice how white the birch trees are, and I'm going to let you into a little secret. I washed the trunks this year. Not the first time I've done it, but the first time in a good while, and they come up so much whiter. Of course, when you take the skin off, the undercoat is a little bit yellow and not white, so you don't want to do too much of that. But I think really they make a much stronger statement now that they've been cleaned than they did before, especially before the majority of the leaves came. Okay, so for those of you who have been following the plight of my box balls, we cut them back, cut them hard back, and applied the treatment. Now the treatment, whose name is going up on the screen now because I can't remember off the top of my head, is a foliar feed that you mix with water and just spray on. And so we did that, and since then, you know, they do look a bit dog-eared, but I'm hoping with another application that they might bounce back, so I'll keep you informed. Okay, so from here we're going to travel up that way, and I'll stop if there are any plants of interest as we go. We're certainly going to take a stop at that viburnum, the white viburnum on the left and the right of the path, and then we'll enter into the next section of the garden. And here we are with the viburnum on the left and to the right as well, but you can't quite see that. And I just love, love, love these flowers. They're so white and creamy. Now the flowers aren't completely white, which you only see if you have it in comparison with something else that's complete white. But yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous bush. This gorgeous hosta at the front is Francis Williams, and I love it because it's variegated, yet it seems to withstand the slug damage quite well. I do see one or two holes in it, but generally speaking it does super well and holds its colour through the season. And over here the Martkin lilies are budding up very nicely. Now this is a white flowered one that looks super. But unfortunately the lily beetles don't spare the Martkin lilies either, and I have found some, they seem to like them even better than the other ones, or perhaps just because the foliage is out sooner than the other lilies that the lily beetles start their feast on them. So I found a couple of lily beetles on them, but hopefully I will still get a good display. And if we stand here and look back, that's the Laburnum tree right there in the far distance, the yellow one. Here we can see the two viburnums I'm talking about on the left and the right, and these will become quite large bushes in time, so I hope I have left them enough space to expand. We'll have to see, and you know, if I need to cut off branches, I'm perfectly prepared to do that. So bye bye to that part of the garden, and now just to give you an idea of where you are, you will see you'll see a puya. So this is the area that I moved my Sarracenia Planters to, and it's the area that used to be what I called the New Wave Perennial border, and it's not that anymore, but I haven't yet planted it up. Haven't made up my mind exactly what I'm going to plant in this border, but it's going to be good. The Sarracenia are quite slow to wake up after their late division, but they're getting there, and soon I hope I will have some flowers, although some of these smaller divisions will probably just go straight to pictures this year and not bother flowering. Just a little further to my right is this long woodland border with a fantastic rhododendron Percy Wiseman there at the front that looked amazing just about a week ago. and I can't believe it's gone over so quickly, but it was really fantastic. You probably saw some of my photos on Instagram, and we're going to head up that way for the moment. Just there, here on the right, we have this border, and I guess the grasses are what is looking so well at the moment. The Cynara at the back is coming, but I think it was knocked back a little bit by the frost. It was such a late frost, and there's been like damage to things that I never thought could get damaged. Aquilegias are looking good in this border at the moment. The blue one's always the first to flower. So in the border to the left, just beyond Rhododendron Percy Wiseman, we have a few nice things that I want to show you right over here in the shade. Heuchera Thor is doing a great job of just brightening up a dark corner with its variegated leaves. And just to the right we have this gorgeous sunny Lathyrus aurea, which of course is in the pea family. And I love the vibrant orange colour of these spikes. Really, really pretty little thing. The leaves aren't great, that's the one thing I will say about it, but when it's in flower I'm always glad I have it. It seems to be much loved by the bees as well, and I have a lot of bumblebees in the garden this summer. Well, so far this summer, that just kind of like bumble about as they do, and you can't miss them because they're so noisy and they're so fat that they just kind of like make their presence known. Continuing in this border to the left, you can see that Geranium Renardii is shaping up to have a lovely year. It's a mass of these white flowers with purple veining and the soft, very tactile leaves. Just to the right of it, Lobelia tupa has really run rampant, and actually this year I had to rip it out from inside my hydrangeas. It just kind of ran into a whole load of other things, and actually I probably didn't get all of it out, but it's good that something that exotic really is doing so well. So we're going to continue on up this border as the sun goes in, and you may be in for a shocking sight now. My Mycecium there in the background, but we have a rhododendron that's quite badly burnt by the frost. That's a really shocking sight. So this is a Rhododendron Barbra, a species rhododendron that flowers for me, and it had finished flowering and was putting on its new leaves, and along came the frost and boom. It's going to be alright, I should imagine, but it's not going to look pretty for a while. It's lucky I don't have any visitors coming to the garden this year. And just behind it, do you see that thing with the small leaves? Let's go in and have a look at it in a bit more detail. So this is a tree, Luma Glanleam Gold. It mightn't be Luma anymore, it may have changed its name, but it's called Glanleam Gold because it was discovered at Glanleam Garden down on Valentia Island in Kerry, where they have a really, really mild climate. It's a myrtle, of course, but it has these variegated leaves, small leaves with a kind of creamy gold margin, and very attractive plant. And I'm going to keep mine small. I'm going to topiary it and try and keep it a manageable size in this border. And here we have a tree peony, which is just opening. Got to open a lot wider than this, but it has beautiful, beautiful poppy-like flowers in many ways. And it, yeah, can't wait until this opens fully. I think I have 2 buds this year, so, well, it's an improvement. And here at the top of the border we have the Digitalis the Foxgloves that I recently planted out. There are those little things down there in the ground. Digitalis Palm's Choice, a beautiful white foxglove that I can't wait to get going and just give me those fantastic flowers. And I had some gaps over here, so I was delighted to put them in here. And now just panning up the other side of the border to everyone's favourite, which is Hosta Empress Wu, this brute here. And she, of course, produces these massive, massive deep green leaves that the slugs leave alone. So there's no holes in her, and that's a very welcome thing for anyone who has difficulty with hostas and keeping the slugs off them. So progressing past the burnt Persicaria, and whoever thought that frost could burn Persicaria, we live, we learn. Past the Euphorbia that I absolutely love, and then just swinging around here to show you what's at the top of this run, which is the stone table. And here at the top beside the Euphorbia we have an Acer that, well, it always does well. Small Acer, and always looks great. And there's where we just came from, down there. The tall Sarracenia Planters have been temporarily placed here. I'm trying to find the best place for them. It's not here, I know, but yeah, they can sit here for the time being. And leaving behind the foxgloves, I want to take you on a little jaunt in a place where we don't normally go, which is this path here, where I have woodlandsy things. And excuse me, because we're off the tripod, so it all gets a bit jumpy. Regersea seems to have missed the frost burn, thank goodness. And we have Empress Wu over there on the right, as we saw just a moment ago. And in there we have the Woodslandsy area that I was planting up where I moved the Trillium. See how great the Sanguinaria leaves look. Really, really big leaves as well. I love this plant. It's a super thing. And over from it we have my bell. But there's a geranium here I really wanted to show you. So here's the area we just came from. You can see the bell swinging from when I just lashed it. And the geranium is this geranium here at the front. This pink one that goes on and on and on and on and on. So I got this geranium years ago in a plant swap, back in the days when nobody knew anything and we just swapped plants and nobody had any names for anything, and it has done so well. It does well in shade, it does well in sun, the bees love it, it's never any trouble, it just gets on with it. And it's dead easy to divide as well. You just pull up a bit and stick it in the ground somewhere and it just it just grows. Isn't that what you want from every plant? So there are changes afoot, and anyone who watches my video about a year in the life of a border will know what I'm talking about from that view there, but I won't dwell on it now because we'll deal with that in the other video. But also around here, you may recall I had a big Rosa rugosa until last autumn when it got moved, and this lovely Cornus cusa got moved up from down below. So now let's continue on here past the green border to my right, and we will find ourselves in front of the greenhouse. Now the greenhouse, my goodness, the greenhouse, it's a bit full again at the moment because with the frost I had to bring in all the dahlias that I was hardening off. See what I mean? I'm glad I hadn't planted them out because they would have been completely frosted by now and set back royally. And in this border here, at the back, we will see the Cardia Crinum. And look what it's producing. And we have one very healthy looking bud on the Cardia Crinum. Now Cardia Crinums are of course monocarpic, so they die after they flower, but very often they produce side shoots. So mine flowered last year, this must be a side shoot, and I can't wait to get its tall scented white flowers again this year. And over here on the other side of the garden I've planted out the Ionians and a couple of more little succulents just in front of the kind of meditation area, or Baby's Hill to give it its correct name. And they're doing really well. The Ionians don't seem to have been hit by the frost, which is really weird. And the Iberis looking really well. That's a perennial corn poppy over there, the white one. And that brings me to the end of this video, a May garden tour, which I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please subscribe to the channel if not already subscribed, and if you are already subscribed then check back for lots more gardening fun. Thanks as always. Bye.